let's just say this now, ladies.
Right.
You do have to put yourself out there, because we were like, it was like a thing where it's like, I'm sending the brainwaves to the mandam, like I'm sending brainwaves to you.
Yo.
Notice.
And if he doesn't catch the brainwaves, it's his loss.
Bye. Like,
What do you mean you didn't see them or feel them coming?
Like, are you kidding yourself?
Do you know who I am?
Do you not see me shining my eye at you? I'm shining my eyes. Can't you not see that I'm looking at you? Not even looking at you. Can't you not feel my brainwaves sending? Like, no, we were not serious.
Welcome back to In the Midst. I'm Kia.
And I'm Debbie.
And we're so grateful to be recording our third episode now.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
It's so exciting.
Yeah.
So exciting.
And so our first two episodes we recorded before we released, and at this point we've already released, and the support and the feedback has just been overwhelming in a good way, and we're so grateful. So we just want to say thank you. Thank you so much for your support, for your kind words. And we hope that it's relatable to you. We hope that it feeds you.
Yeah. Like we were so fearful initially to even release this in the first place. And so to come to this point now where we did it, and like the people who have even reached out to us, friends that we haven't even talked to in years, all the support we've received has been incredible. So it's like, thank you to everyone who's just supported us and encouraged us in all of this. It like, honestly, it's just God really confirming that this is like the right thing for us to do right now. So I'm so excited that we're doing this. Like, it's less nerve-wracking. I feel like
more comfortable. I know. I'm like
more comfortable. Ooh, before the amount of takes that we had to do in the first, like when we first recorded. Oh man, that's a whole nother thing. That is a whole nother thing. But thank you so much for the support, and we want to hear more feedback from you guys. We want you to continue to tell us what you want to hear from us, and like interact with us on social media and everything, on Instagram, on the YouTube channel, and on our podcast. So this is awesome. So yes,
so we're gonna get into it now. So one of the aims we wanted you guys to take away from our podcast and from our channel is that we want it to be relatable. So speaking of relatable, we're going to be talking about dating today.
Oh, so you think you can date. So when we came up with like this title, it was just kind of joking around. So if you remember, so you think you can dance? Yeah, so you think you can date. So do you really think you're ready for dating? And specifically our experience with online dating. Yeah, so in terms of the overview, you want to go into the overview and then we can get into our experiences?
Oh my goodness, yeah. So we're going to be talking about what our dating lives look like as Christians, or lack thereof, of a dating life look like as Christians in general. Just coming to some realizations that we had about our some toxic views we had about dating. How the pandemic then led us online, barf. And then how we realized that there was still work to do in general. So,
within ourselves. Yeah. And this is kind of like a part one that will lead into a part two that is more specific of the actual experiences of online dating that we personally had. And the reason, like, honestly, it is the purpose, like what led us to creating In the Midst.
Yeah.
The really
that
negative
fan.
Yeah. So let's get into this. So if you were watching our second episode, we were talking about like our journeys with God and everything, and how in 2016 was kind of the marker of the beginning of that. And so that was like a place for both of us where we both had gone out of heartbreak.
Yeah.
And so it was a place where we got out of heartbreak, but we also just felt so encouraged in our faith at that time, and making our own personal decisions, like with following God. And so that was a point as well where we both had made a decision of abstinence, and then also hiding ourselves, which we will get into more detail, but kind of hiding ourselves in order to be found. So yeah, like in terms of our experiences, so initially, because we said from 2016 to 2020, it was like a 4 or 5 year period of literally not putting ourselves out there in regards to dating at all.
No.
Like literally nothing.
No.
Like nothing at all.
Yeah.
And we were okay. Like I would say the first half.
Yeah.
It was a weird place because the first half of it, we didn't even. For myself, I didn't really care too much. I was in a good place mentally. I feel like.
Me too. I was just like, oh, it is what it is. And
Yeah.
like I had already experienced like a bad relationship, and like that was like young and stupid at the end of the day. But like it's not even blaming it on that. But I was like, I'm not trying to go backwards, so I'm just gonna enjoy my life and stop like obsessing over wanting a relationship. And I was enjoying just like not being obsessed anymore. So yeah, and then just like travel and just.
Getting immersed in church,
Yeah.
which was really fun. Like, it was just a really, like, the first half of that was a really good place for us.
Yeah.
It was a good place. But then eventually there was a point where we were really getting into, like not trying to be found, like maybe not trying to be found, but like in a place.
No, I feel like the word of like that year was like thirsty. Like you're just like you just didn't want to come across thirsty.
No, that's perfect.
Yeah,
exactly. It was like a period where it's like, oh, you do not want to come off thirsty. You'd be like, oh my gosh, people are so thirsty for a relationship. Like, relax. But
they're just doing the basics of putting themselves
out there. Like, let's just say this now, ladies.
Right.
You do have to put yourself out there, because we were like, it was like a thing where it's like, I'm sending the brainwaves to the mandam, like I'm sending brainwaves to you.
Yo.
Notice.
And if he doesn't catch the brainwaves, it's his loss.
Bye. Like,
what do you mean you didn't see them or feel them coming?
Like, are you kidding yourself?
Do you know who I am?
Do you not see me shining my eye at you? I'm shining my eyes. Can't you not see that I'm looking at you? Not even looking at you. Can't you not feel my brainwaves sending? Like, no, we were not serious,
No.
but it was, you will find out, like, this 4 or 5 year period, especially near the end, like the last 2 years was, oh my gosh, looking back now, it was pride. It was pride.
And I think that pride, like, literally came from, I remember a certain point in time, I was listening, there was like a certain sector of like Christian community that was like, had this whack, toxic view of dating and desire for marriage, and it made it seem like just like even having desire alone was like idolatry. It's like, no, you don't need to focus on that, just focus on God. Just no, you don't need to, you're gonna be found. Like, you don't even look at a guy. And it's just like, yeah, like don't even let
like
your
the
eyeballs
desire.
meet, bro.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
And
don't even have a desire. Like, the desire, the way, it's not like even saying that you shouldn't have a desire, but it was just like, oh, your desire can lead you down the wrong path of idolatry. And it's not to say that that's not true, but we ate that up. Bro. Oh my goodness.
Like, it was
basically we suppressed. Yeah. we suppressed natural desires and feelings for marriage and family. Those are absolutely wonderful, healthy things if you desire that. But that was a place that we were at that we were like, no, it's okay. We're going to be found. And then also even where it became transactional.
Oh my goodness, yeah. Oh my, yeah. Because the prude really was rude, and it's just like, I've been doing this for this many years. I've been abstinent for this many years.
Yeah.
So I know I'm doing what's right. I know that I'm doing what's right. And then you see people who haven't, and then
like, I understand. And then it was and then comparison to, like, you kind of, it was pride. So you're comparing and seeing people getting into relationships, and you're just like, well, you know, because some of these platforms will say, you don't know what is really going on in the relationships, which is, again, it's true, but you have to be careful that your lens is not a lens of pride, because if you're listening to things, if you are taking things in with a lens of pride, it's gonna be distorted.
For sure.
It's not gonna be taken in the way that it actually should be taken.
For sure. And instead of being happy for someone, you're just like, well, you're kind of doing it the wrong way. I'm doing, ew, it's so embarrassing.
It's so embarrassing to even admit now, but,
right.
and it's facts. And honestly, there's a part of me that's just like, I want to hold back on admitting my faults and everything in this, because it's like, that was, like, I'm 30, and you kind of think to yourself, oh man, am I still learning these kind of life lessons at this point in my life, in my late 20s? Like, am I really still learning these things? And it's like, yep, you sure are, and that's okay. Like, it's totally fine, but no, I can't hold back. I have to be honest about these experiences, because they're relatable, and they're honest and it's truthful. So so basically we didn't want to basically admit that we had a relationship, like that we desired relationships. We would kind of just talk about that amongst ourselves, but then it's like, oh, you're not coming off thirsty, so no. But then it got to a point where the desire was building up. For me, the desire was
me too.
Oh yeah,
me too. I mean, it's not like it was always there looming. Like I said, I went from a place of like being obsessed and then being like heartbroken to being content. But then it was just like, you can be content, like there's a balance. You can be content and still want like something more for yourself.
Yes.
You can be content and still desire a relationship. But then there was a place in time where I was suppressing it for sure. But yeah, it was busting through that suppression.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
It was just below the surface at one point.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And again, I don't know if we went into it in detail in terms of transactional, but believing like, oh, because I've been doing this for so long and just staying the course, God, it's gonna come into my lap. Like as if a relationship is just gonna fall into my lap. And the thing is, there's so much to this, and we're gonna. Oh my gosh, I like this topic so much because there's so much to unpack. But if you desire a job, you put out applications, you apply for jobs in order to get a job. You can't be like, oh God, I want to be married, and lock yourself in your house and not do anything, And we were essentially doing that. I mean, it's not like we weren't going out and doing things, but we were just closing ourselves off and really thinking that we were doing things in a certain way, and then frowning upon people who did things differently. Mm-hmm. So if people were online dating, it's like, really? Okay. And I mean, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Online dating isn't for everyone. We've learned it's not for me.
It's never been for me, and it will never be for me.
It's not for me. So
yeah.
But it's not to say that people can't
it can
find
work for other people.
Absolutely.
Though I'm not like, we can't be so black and white all the time.
Exactly. We can't put God in a box, and that's the problem with pride. You put God in a box, and you, based off of your own knowledge and what you think you put God in a box. So it was just getting near like the last 2 years of that period, 2019 into 2020 especially, where, and I mean, of course there was other things going on like moving away and all of that, but it was getting to a point too. So for instance, with my own situation, being almost 30 at that point and never having a boyfriend, having situationships but never having a boyfriend, having insecurities about that and thinking like, is there something wrong with me? And so like these were like where this was like when the desire was building, and then I started having a lot of deep insecurities where I was like, what's going on? Like nothing has ever really happened. Like why is that? But then kind of telling yourself, well, God's just hiding me away and that's fine. But also not putting myself out there either. And then looking at one of my good friends who was on online dating and was doing so confidently, like had ups and downs, but was doing so in a way that she was confident in it and did such, like she was doing amazing. But I kind of like frowned upon it, and I was like, I was not open to it at all at that time because I've had negative experiences in the past. And then this was something that I realized at that point where I really, my pride was ugly. I remember thinking to myself like, well, I'm going to get in a relationship before she will, because I mean, the way she's going about it, I don't know. I think the way I'm doing it is better. Like it's embarrassing to even admit that, but then God is so good that in your pride, he will correct you and let you know, because when it changed, when she got into an amazing, healthy relationship from online dating, like there was a part of me that was just like, whoa, God, but I thought it would be me. Like I cringe at myself right now, even thinking and admitting that, but it was the truth. Like I just was like, I really thought in my pride that because of the way I was doing things that it was going to happen for me in a certain way. But God cannot be contained in a box in any way, shape, or form. He can't be limited to your view of him, right? Like you can't do that. And so that was such an interesting period, and it was a really good learning experience, because it really, like I had to really cry out to God and be like, God, forgive me, because I went about this the wrong way. I went about this pridefully, and it has got me literally nowhere. It got me thinking, and I mean, of course there was like more to that situation as well, but it just had me thinking of myself as better than, when really it was my desire that I had been bottling and kind of, suppressing, was really like rearing its ugly head, like in a bad way. Like I was just like, oh my gosh, I want this.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And it's so funny saying that, because I'm thinking of like the one scripture where it's like our righteousness is like filthy rags, and that reminds me of that, because like not even just your story, me too. Like we do things and we treat God like he's some type of genie from Aladdin. Like he's not the genie from Aladdin.
Never.
I can't do and do and do, and then he's gonna just like spit out what I desire for me.
No.
Like, or because I do something in a certain order, like pridefully. Like my heart is rooted in pride. Those, like, it's not cute.
No.
And like he actually really had to change the mindset, like over the past couple of years, and I'm so grateful for it because
So grateful.
it's not a nice place to be.
No.
It's not a nice place to be, but also grateful for just like some good friends in our lives that have grace, like graceful friends, because like you're saying, like with that experience, obviously you guys are still great friends.
Oh,
to that
amazing!
day.
I love her.
But yeah,
you know who you are,
yeah.
but
Yeah.
of course, exactly, and they will still encourage you. Like, I mean, and if you saw our first episode just about friendships, like it's so important having those good people in your
Yeah.
life because they will encourage you. They will be able to check you in a loving way. You will be able to have those conversations, and God uses those people in your life for such a time, you know?
Definitely.
Um,
And then I'm even thinking, yeah, so, I mean, that goes into like, that's like still that 5-year period. But then along comes like 2019, 2020. 2020 is like when, the desire just bust through. Like,
Yeah.
it just came right through, and it was like, I want this and I want it now.
Yeah.
Like, but we were now in a pandemic.
Yeah.
We're now in a pandemic. So it's like a realization of, oh, wow, I've been doing this wrong for years. I need to actually, like,
yeah.
do things. Like, I need to actually, like, put myself out there.
I haven't gotten a date for 5 years. Like, like nothing was, like, the dating life was dead.
There was none. What do you mean the dating life?
There was none.
There was, what dating life?
There was what
Bro.
dating life? It was non-existent.
I know. And then your friends, oh, are you seeing anybody? That'd be so annoying.
Oh my God.
Leave me alone.
Leave me alone. Leave me.
Stop asking me.
Please stop asking me because I hate this conversation. I don't want to have this conversation. Say, no, I'm still single. I'm still very, very single. And I'm almost 30. And this sucks. But that's the reality of that time.
Yeah. I know. But then it was just like being annoyed with people asking that.
Yeah.
But then also it's like I wasn't even doing anything to change it either.
Yeah.
And also being annoyed.
Yeah.
Like I'm annoyed, but I'm also not doing anything to change it.
Exactly.
So why am I annoyed?
I don't
Why
know.
am I annoyed? But yeah, anywho, coming to 2020 and just realizing like we were doing it completely different, but then being in the middle of a pandemic. Whew. And then, actually, I'm forgetting, we went from listening to like that weird sector of Christian content that was like, hide yourself away.
Yeah.
Playing hide and hide, not hide and seek.
Be found.
Yeah,
Your
like-
red will find you.
You're someone's already,
you're
you're
someone's
asleep.
You're,
That's so embarrassing. Sorry.
It's scriptural and it's beautiful
It
in its
is.
own way, but it became cringy.
It can get cringy real quick if you take it like...
Prideful lens.
Yeah, exactly. But we went from like listening to like that type of content and then coming to a realization, ew.
Like our desires are not bad. It's okay to desire, but now we've wasted the last 5 years, and now we're listening to nonsense.
Bare nonsense.
On the other end of the spectrum.
Red
Please,
pill.
go ahead.
Red pill, bro. I ate that. I took that pill like it was like my probiotic.
Matrix.
fam.
Matrix. Red pill or blue pill. Yo.
But no, I took that pill like it was my vitamin every day. And the thing is, disclaimer. You can learn something from everybody. Like there were some very good points.
Take the meat, leave the bone.
Exactly. But then that like sprung on a new anxiety now because I'm just like, whoa, did I waste like 5 years?
Not even did I.
I wasted
5 years of my life doing nothing, not getting myself out. It was another level of anxiety, and then now we're locked up. We can't go out. Like it was the worst.
Seriously, yeah.
We can't go nowhere.
Yeah, we can't go anywhere, and time is ticking. I'm like, I'm 28, I'm about to be 29. Like, what? I can't go anywhere?
And then this is when the dating apps were like, yo, it's
Come
time.
here.
Come sweat it.
Don't be shy. Don't sweat.
Come sweat it. Come on, like, ready profile. Profile.
Ew.
And it was like,
I don't want to. It's like a creepy Uncle Bear, like, sure.
and we did it.
I know.
We did it. But yeah, it was, so it was, like you were saying, it's important to kind of say about going on the other side of the spectrum, like the manosphere, which I don't have enough knowledge on that at all. I can understand, like you said, there is wisdom that can be taken from any kind of platform, but you have to be careful that you take the meat and leave the bones.
Yeah.
And it can get to a point where you're taking a lot of the bones.
Yeah. And then I feel like there was even a point too, and I was just like, wait, do I need to, we'll talk about this in the next episode, but it's like, do I even need to like bend my values a little bit in order to get what I desire? Like, am I being too strict? Like, does it take all of this? Like, does it actually take all of this can I like, I don't want to say have my cake and eat it too. That's like kind of bad.
But I get what you're saying.
Yeah. No. But you know what I mean? Like, can I actually stick to my standards and like honor God the way I want to and actually get a relationship as well? Is that like dead? So I was anxious in that area, and I was just, and like personally, like I said, disclaimer. There's like, if online dating works for you, I love that for you. But I personally always was kind of just like, even before the Pride, I was just like, meh, I don't know if that's really for me. And then I convinced myself, and I was like, no, we're in a pandemic, so I need to put myself out there. So, there's nothing wrong with that. Honestly. There's nothing wrong with it, I'm at a good place. And I wasn't at a good place. I thought I was. I was in an anxious place.
Anxious, insecurities.
Yeah. I was in an anxious place. But I convinced myself that it was a good place. And I was like, let me just make that profile.
Yep. And then that was the start of a group chat that me, Kia, our friend Bianca, and I created. Hinge Cringe.
Bro.
Oh, that was like the most positive part of online dating. Because the amount of jokes,
daily comedy
that our group chat would Hinge Cringe and Bumble Fumble, like, oh my goodness, the amount of jokes that we would share in that we have to be honest, guys. If you're making profile and it's not sense, if it's not making sense, you will be inside of a group chat. We will be laughing. And we laughed.
How many guys have you seen holding a fish in a photo? Or singing? It's the ballads for me. It's the ballads for me. Like,
the lack of like not even trying on the profile. Like they're just doing the bare minimum. Doing bare minimum and then coming into the DMs bare minimum. Just all kinds of nonsense. So it kind of started off, it was fun. I won't even lie.
No, it was actually, at one point because it was funny.
We were having so much fun with the profiles and everything, and then being like, oh, okay, talking to this person. Like, it was like, especially because the three of us were on this and we were having fun and we were making a joke out of it. There was a period that it was fun, but then, it got...
Oh, it got dark real quick.
Yeah.
It got dark really quick. I think, like, there's one person that was normal. There was one person that was normal who was like an acquaintance.
Yeah, I get that. I totally get that. Yeah, I mean, everyone's experience is absolutely different when it comes to online dating. Everyone's experience is very, very different, but it was this realization now that I thought I was ready to date. And it's not like I wasn't per se, but when I was going about it the wrong way, it then caused me to, like you're saying, bending on some of my convictions, or, not even like talking to time wasters, like allowing my time to be wasted, having unrealistic expectations with online dating. Like sometimes you think, oh yeah, like it's just gonna, it's gonna happen because, hey, I haven't been out there, now I'm out here, so hey world, welcome. Like I'm here.
I'm out here and I'm cute, so it's gonna fall into my lap.
Yeah, no, like that's not how it is. Like a lot of people can talk about how, so many people talk about their experiences of online dating and that it's hard. It's really, really hard. And when you have negative experiences, it makes it harder for you to open up sometimes. So there was that.
And I think as well, like, you touching on like talking to time wasters, what I realized, it was just like, why am I giving benefit of the doubt to someone I don't know? Like I was handing out benefit of the doubt like it was like, I don't know, candy on Halloween.
Yeah.
Like, why? But like I was giving out benefit of the doubt to people who like we're getting to know each other, or like, and like I said, that's like another episode because there was like a whole relationship.
Yeah, that came out of that.
Like there was a whole relationship that came out of that, but like just like completely ignoring red flags because someone may have presented themselves outwardly a good way.
Yeah.
But then the mask was just slipping, and it was just like, oh. They're just human, Kia, you gotta be graceful. Nobody's perfect. People make mistakes.
Yes.
Oh, don't worry about that.
And it's like the red flags
flying in my face.
Red flag.
Yeah.
If you remember that. Red flag.
Shout out to that.
Yeah.
Shout out to that.
The red flag was flagging in the face, and that basically it was also now getting to a place of desperation. And because of that, so embarrassing. Yeah. But because it was a place of desperation, those red flags were starting. You're changing them to yellow. You're changing them to amber because you're like, well,
human,
I did say about my faith. I've talked about like my abstinence, but like like it was just you started trying to bend your convictions a little bit, or you were not you were accepting nonsense. You were okay with nonsense.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I can say for myself, I was getting to a place where I was desperate. I was like, I want this to happen. Why isn't this not happening? And then again, just getting into it was just feeding insecurities.
Yeah.
It was feeding my insecurities.
Definitely.
Also, you had talked about how with online dating as well, it kind of felt shallow.
Yeah, and that's actually one of the major things that's one of the major reasons why I never really wanted to dabble into that, because I'm just like, I'm not 16 anymore. Like, it's not just like you're cute, I'm cute, like let's get together. It's character.
Yes,
so it's character, and I was fully indulgent in that shallowness, because I'm like picking up my phone and I'm like squinting my eye like, ew.
But like have some good character traits where you're like, and I mean it's not.
But it's just honesty.
Yeah, we're just being honest about that. And I mean, and this goes into a whole other thing about, you know, what you are looking for in a partner. Like, I mean, a lot of us women, we all want that tall, 6 foot and over kind of person. And it's like, do you want someone who is, what is it that you want, the 6 foot,
the 6'6"?
Yeah, the 6'6".
6 foot, six pack abs and 6 figures.
6 figures, but they are Satan. You see the Satan
demon.
Shambon, you hear? Do you want, like, is it about the outer appearance, or is it about like the character of that person? Like, what is it that you're really looking for? Like, what is actually important?
Yeah.
What is, like, think about your legacy. Think about your future. Think about your family, your children. Because when, like, a lot of it for both of us as well was, like, thinking about my own, like, my parents being divorced and the things that I had gone through growing up, and just thinking about, like, that trauma and how I didn't want to bring that into my future. Like, I want better for my future.
Yeah.
So that means it's like, are you gonna really like think about it? Are you gonna pass up on somebody who may not be exactly meet your height requirement, but has integrity? Like, that's what's really important. I want someone who has I want a man who has integrity. I want a man who carries himself well, who obviously is Christian, but then you have to be careful with that, because there's people, it's not about just, oh, I'm Christian. It's not
because you can check every Christian box and you have issues you're not accountable for. So
and then you're running rampant here.
Exactly. And I don't want someone
toxic behavior.
I don't want someone who can hoop and holler and run around the church.
Hey,
you're just all run around, but you have issues.
No,
you have unaddressed issues. Like,
obviously, you're toxic.
We all do, but you know what I mean. You know what I mean? Like, absolutely. I don't need you to put on an act, bro.
Yeah.
Like, because at the end of the day, like, I'm desiring a marriage, and there's going to be kids to come from that. I'm not raising up I want healthy children.
Healthy marriage, healthy family, healthy children. I want to partner with someone who has the same point of view in that, like, in that regard. I want us to both do this together, knowing that family is incredibly important to me. And so because of that, I want to raise children that trauma is not by force. I'm not going to make that's not going to be a part of my future, my legacy for my family.
Seriously.
Not at all.
And my thing, like, for me, like, my biological parents are not together, but I was raised up, I've had a father figure in my life since I was 7. I saw healthy. I saw what good looks like. So I'm just like, if I know what good looks like I'm not ignorant to that. Why am I wasting my time for? And, like, I'm not trying to be the parent who traumatizes their child.
Because of my issues that I'm not dealing with, that I'm not working
desperation.
on. And desperation.
Desperation's going to cause me to traumatize children for years to come? Wow. No.
Or hurt. Like, I think a big part of why dating is hard for a lot of people is because there are hurt people hurting people out there. And then you have to also be careful, again, about the platforms and things that you're listening to, because so often, like I love using Twitter, and I love just reading like tweets that people share, especially like Black Twitter. Like, I love it. And there is so much talk about like just negative views of relationships and dating, but then that is not everyone's story. That is a fragment of the reality of what relationship and what people are really dealing with in relationships. There are very healthy relationships out there because there are two people who are doing the work, working on themselves. I need to make sure I'm working on my personal issues, getting the therapy, getting the help that I need, being accountable to myself, and then looking for someone who also has those same character traits. Because if not, I'm going like that's a lot of the toxic things that are happening in dating relationships. It's like people are hurting other people, and I don't want that, and I don't want to be a part of that. And of course, this is going to go again into the next episode where it's very like, I mean, and a word that gets thrown out a lot is like narcissism, but it's also a reality because I, honestly, from what I'm understanding about that is there are a lot of people who have narcissistic traits or are full blown narcissists.
Bro, after what I went through, I have a PhD at this point.
I
have a psych PhD.
Yes, a PhD in narcissism, like understanding
my dissertation, narcissism.
No,
honestly.
Again,
we'll leave it at that.
We'll leave it at
Talk about that later.
Because Wow. But honestly, it is like, of course, we're not even saying like you shouldn't be attracted to that person. Absolutely, you need to be.
Come on now.
Come on, you need to be attracted to that person.
Yeah.
But don't let your attraction lead you down the path of heartbreak.
But I think, and I will talk about this later, that it was, for my last one, it was like attraction, that was one thing, but it was also like portrayed character. Like, you know what I mean? It wasn't, like, I don't think I'm even in the place anymore, or have been in the place anymore where it was just like, oh, do you, about
exactly.
Looks. It definitely wasn't. It's been about character and integrity from time now.
Yes.
But it was just like, when the truth was coming out, it was not wanting to accept that. Yeah. And wanting to just overlook it.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, like, again, it's about, like we've been saying, your legacy, about your family, your future, what you're actually looking for. And there are men and women out there. Like, a big part of a lot of this, the manosphere or whatever, not all of it, but some of it is hurt men speaking on a platform with mics from a place of hurt. And then there are hurt women
doing the same thing,
doing the exact same thing. Because the thing is, sin is not just male or female. Sin is everybody. Yeah. So everyone can hurt has a potential of hurting other people, and everyone can do things from a place of hurt. I hope I'm making sense in this.
No, it makes sense. Like, it's not partial. It's not one gender is doing it more than the other.
Not at all. No. But of course, society wants to do that. Like, it wants to play
a divide.
Exactly. Be careful of that. It's so important because we've fallen into that a little bit. Like, I've listened to some of that nonsense, and I recognized how that was affecting me. So I quickly backed right out of that as soon as possible. But again, in terms of what's important in finding someone, it's not, of course, again, attraction, but then of course, like, even when someone is attractive, sometimes it's just like the way they carry themselves, right? Like confidence and all of those things. But again, it's like, I know what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a man who loves God more than anything and knows his place in a family, like wants to lead his family and wants to partner with me in that, and wants to raise children who are healthy, that do their part in society, living a wonderful, beautiful life, all of that. So that is something that you have to trust God in. Put yourself out there, but trust God in that and believe that He has good for you in that regard. Because if not, the desperation is not nice. It's not a good thing.
It's not becoming, and it's not cute.
No. The way you said that, just like, it's not becoming and it's not cute.
Not.
Stop.
Just stop it.
Please. And we're saying
ourselves.
We're saying this because we went through it. So never again. But so basically, in terms of, like, are you ready to date? Like, how do you know you are ready to date? And also, again, we're like, from both parts of the spectrum, there's nothing wrong with having the desire for marriage and family. Absolutely not. It's beautiful. God created that. It's a beautiful thing. Desire that. God placed that desire in you. So that's good. But then understand that not everyone is on the exact same journey.
No.
Right?
It's going to look different for other
people. It's going to look different for people. And it's hard when you see everyone and their mama getting engaged and married. And you're just like, okay, God, so you don't care for me. You don't love me. That's why I'm suffering here. And that's not the case at all. But, like, it's really important that we really put our trust in God in this area and not go on, like, both sides of the spectrum of desperation and hiding yourself and then putting yourself out there, but then desperation in a different way.
Yeah. There needs to be a balance.
There needs to be a balance. Yes. Sorry, I believe you had a point, or I can just continue from there. Did you have a point about anything?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay. So yes, we can then go into like kind of like our final notes here. Yeah. So basically, have realistic expectations when it comes to online dating or dating in general. It is like if you recognize it's something that isn't really working for you, kind of take note and ask friends, have discussions with people and who you can trust and know who you are. Like, is this the best place? Is this the best place for me? Is there something that I need to work on? Am I closing myself off? Yeah. You know, there's so many different things. And then also character matters. Like, look at the character of people, take people for face value. I feel like there needs to be like a crash course on online dating, because those streets are not for the weak-hearted. Yeah, they're murky, man. But also, put yourself out there. Females, sending brainwaves, I'm going to tell you, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. I know we want that to work so badly. Just shine eye. Shine eye. And they're wondering, is there something in your eye? Is she
you have eyelash in there?
You have eyelash? No.
I was even shining eye. You saw how I was in the high school hallways. I'm not even shining eye, bro. I'm just sending brainwaves.
Yeah, exactly. Just sending no. So exactly. Yeah. You can go to the next part.
And the next thing is just being the best version of yourself. And if you it's not always the other person, sometimes it's you. So if you know you have to deal with something, be accountable to that. Have your friends hold you accountable to that. If you need therapy, go to therapy.
Please. Therapy is good.
If you need to chat to somebody, go and talk to somebody.
Exactly.
Don't hold in your issues. We all come from different backgrounds and different walks of lives, and we've all experienced different things that may affect how we enter into relationships or even an attachment style even. So look into that. Make sure that you're holding yourself accountable daily. So
absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Also, do not compromise on your deal breakers. Because it's like, oh, I know that person's not perfect, but no one is. And again, it's finding a healthy medium, because it's people aren't perfect for real. Yeah. But also, don't compromise on the deal breakers. There are things that should be deal breakers in your life that are really important to you. Those are the things that you shouldn't compromise on.
Yeah. Exactly. You don't have to. You shouldn't have to. Especially if you're thinking long term in a legacy year. Do you want a divided house? I don't want a divided house.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Which even reminds me, there was recently on Instagram, Jackie Hill Perry had quoted or said something about an underrated trait to look for in a potential spouse is wisdom. Mm-hmm. You can marry an educated fool if you'd like, of course, but it's the wise ones that will save your life, spiritually speaking. And
that's good.
Yeah, that's so good. I don't know. There's things that are just so much more important, and that is the piece that I want, because I think we can both say at this point and where we've come from, you have to go through the fire, through the wire. You have to go through some tough times to recognize, because there was a point where it was I'm just gonna settle. Again, I oh my gosh, so many points from the next episode, but it's you're willing to settle. It's God, I'm honestly good with this. Yeah. But now it's if it means either being single for the rest of my life, but have peace of mind, because peace of mind is such a beautiful thing.
Being able to sleep at night. Being able to eat when you've been involuntarily fasting.
Because of pain. No, honestly.
Yeah.
I would much rather be single for the rest of my life than to get into the relationship with the wrong person. Mm-hmm. Absolutely, because it's just not worth it. That's the place I've come to. It's just not worth it. Next point.
Yeah, and then the next point is, ultimately we just have to trust God and His timing. So, I don't know, when I was going through, the things that I was going through, I realized, I was trying to be the captain now. I was trying to be the co-pilot, and it's just no, I actually have to allow God to be the pilot, and I need to be the passenger. So, you're going to go on when you're on a flight, you know where your destination is. You know where you want him to take you, where you want that pilot to take you. And it's not going to be a smooth ride all the time. There's probably going to be turbulence. But when there's turbulence, he's going to instruct you to put your seatbelt on. When it's time to go to sleep, lights are out, it's time to rest now.
When
and
it's
then when
time
you're
to
like,
eat,
when it's time to eat, you want to eat.
Ah, yes.
I want to eat food.
Girl,
But
please talk to
yeah.
talk.
But then when you're like you're descending and you're coming close, like he's gonna allow you to see, like there's gonna be confirmation. Like when a flight is landing, my ears are popping at that point. I hate flights for that fact. Like my ears be hurting.
Yeah.
But like when you're landing, you can open up the window and see like you're approaching where you need to go, and that's because like he leads your path. Like, and that brings like. Ultimately, it's just trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. Proverbs 3:5,
Yeah.
and then even 6, like in all your ways submit to Him, and He will make your path straight.
Yeah.
I had to stop trying to fly the plane and like just realizing that I needed to submit to Him and His will for my life, and stop being desperate and just trust that His desires became my desires. And if that's the case, like He does, like marriage is of God. So and I have that desire. I don't have a desire to be a nun. Like that's I don't have that desire to be a nun. So I can trust that if He gave me the desire that in His timing it will come. I don't have to. It's not by force.
Absolutely.
Like, it's not by force. Me trying to grab the steering wheel.
Absolutely. No.
So,
I love that analogy with. Taking a flight, like letting God actually be the pilot in your life. And again, it's just going back and forth between like our experiences of like, thinking we were like doing that, but it was in a prideful place.
Yeah.
So it's literally like behind God, like, no, God, no. You see that cloud, God? You're trying to direct God, and it's like, that's a joke. You cannot. That's a joke. But in your pride, thinking you can do so, and then again, trying to put yourself out there, and like, it's seeing how you can try and take the wheel and not allow God to take the wheel. Mm-hmm. And the Bible talks about, there's so many verses in the Bible that talk about God ordering and directing our steps. Like it is taught so many times, and about not worrying about tomorrow. And this is because God, he understands our character, our human nature. He understands that we are going to worry about things. And He understands that in our worrying, we're going to try and orchestrate things in our own strength. Right? We're going to try and make things happen by force. But this ultimately steals our peace and causes us to cast blame onto God. It causes us to view others negatively, view ourselves negatively, compare ourselves. Mm-hmm. It's a terrible place to be in. So at the end of the day, make sure you invite God into every area of your life and trust and have faith. Like really believe that everything is going to be Irie.
Yes, and
Everything's gonna be.
He's taking you to Jamaica.
Jamaica.
It's gonna be Irene when you're not ridiculous.
No, everything's actually gonna be Irene. Like He's gonna see you through.
You serious?
I know.
It's okay.
I can never take myself seriously.
We don't take ourselves seriously.
We're trying to be serious now. We're
trying to
take us serious. Sorry. But honestly, that God is going to see you through because He loves you immensely. Like He actually loves you. He desires to be in relationship with you, and He has made the ultimate sacrifice for your life so that you can be in the most beautiful relationship of life.
Now and later. In eternity.
Yes, now and into an eternity. Mm-hmm. So again, I love what you were saying about Proverbs 3:5-6. Yeah. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways, submit to Him, and He will make your path straight.
I love it.
It's
so simple. Like that one's such a common one, but it's you always have to go back to.
You have to reflect on that.
Yeah, I love it.
Yes.
Yeah, but that kind of wraps up this episode.
Yes.
Like we said, this is a part 1. Part 2, ew, juicy. But it's okay. Like we're being transparent. Like we have to swallow our pride and push past the nausea.
Yeah, like really, yeah. So and like the dating
anxiety.
Experiences that went into 2021.
Yeah.
Because we were in the sunken place of dating. Like, it was rough.
It was rough. But yeah, thank you so much for tuning in again. Please come back next week. I don't know if we even talked about this in our first episode, but we're going to be putting out episodes every Thursday. So come back next Thursday. We're going to be talking about summer 2021, the ups and the downs of that. Yes. And just like kind of how this was birthed from it. So thank you for watching. We'll see you next week.
Yes. Take care, guys. Bye.